Hi, I'm Caroline Wolhunter from Ashray Moseley, which is part of the Accord Group, and we're a social housing provider. I'm here on behalf of a partnership, though, because we work in partnership with Family Action, which is the oldest family charity in England, I believe. And our program is called Holiday Kitchen, with the aim around delivering holiday learning food and play to families that need it. Just in brief, I'm going to talk about our case study and what we do as part of that program, some of the achievements, but also our understanding of what's happening and the emerging risks that we understand holidays are posing more and more to families, particularly through austerity. And the focus that we have decided to take in the short term, it's a different model, slightly to the ones that you've heard, and where we're going around developing an integrated service offer. So in brief, Holiday Kitchen was set up 3 years ago in response to calls from neighbourhoods where we work for food banks and holiday activities. And we weren't in a position at that stage to be setting up food banks, and working with local schools and children's centres. Holiday Kitchen was born. The idea was very much focused around getting children to have healthy, nutritious meals that met Children's Food Trust guidelines, but also to get them active outdoors, learning a few life skills and having lots of fun. And we started off delivering in outdoor settings. We've moved to more structured settings, and largely through domestic violence refuges, children's centres and community centres, which have staff already in them and are open at that time, and they have either health and well-being or school readiness targets that they're needing to meet. And so it's a kind of top-up provision as opposed to establishing something new. They're also well linked into family referral networks, etc. The principles of the program are based on the New Economics Foundation around well-being, and so the aim ultimately is to feel good and function well. Over the last couple of years, we have moved from working with children to working with families, and generally that's working with mums or carers and children. So it's been very important for us to be working with family units as far as possible. Our objectives are to improve social inclusion. That's looking at school readiness, closing opportunity gaps, etc. Improving financial inclusion, and so reducing financial strain and debt. We had sponsorship through the illegal money lending team last year, which was really valuable, and they asked us to work with some very targeted communities where there were some big issues at play, which were quite frightening, not knowing so much about illegal money lending. And then at the core is the family nutrition and well-being. And so that would be physical activity as well as emotional well-being and good nutrition. We haven't specified that it's hot meals or cold meals. We started off with packed lunches. We've moved to a much more varied option. So some centres do make and taste, some centres have some cooking, some centres are bringing in catering that could be cold or hot. Our achievements to date are delivering 5,300 activity days, roughly, with 800 beneficiaries. We've done an academic evaluation of our work following feedback from commissioners, echoing Lindsay's statement earlier, from commissioners and policymakers. How do we know we need this, and what social impact does it have, if you do anything. And we're committed to evaluating all our delivery at this point. We've had some great sponsorship, and Kellogg's provided breakfasts for us last year, and we'll be doing so going forward again. Children in Need provided initial pilot funding, and now have given us some further funding to run a set of programs in the West Midlands for another 2 years. We've worked with 19 community partners, and going forward, that's expanding. We've been very committed, perhaps because we come from a background where we work so closely with statutory providers through other services, that we have always maintained quite strong links with other services, social services, police, as well as education, family referrals, and food banks, and some of the emergency services we have had some weekends with. Holidays, for most people that are not working, at frontline with vulnerable people, still bring up this kind of connotation. And a senior politician recently, when speaking to them about the challenge, was saying, but really, holidays are private time. And I think it's just to reiterate again that lots of people think holidays are private time, where families go off and relax and do things in private. As most of you are probably well aware, it's a lot more complicated for vulnerable families. And being asked to set up food banks and dealing with some very crisis-driven dynamics, we have increasingly asked, what are the costs of doing nothing? And I know the academics in this room, and while we are trying to gather evidence around the social impact of doing something, I would really encourage somebody looking for a good research program. It's social services, it's emergency services, it's school services. There are a range of costs, and we know that when we talk to commissioners. The spikes in service demand in some areas is bad, And Relate has told me, the calls on them for relationship counselling also are spiking, So it's going beyond children. In trying to understand for ourselves what those are and shaping what outcomes we need to be looking at, briefly, the picture that we feel is emerging from our understanding is there's a range of risks, and ultimately the risk is around well-being and family functioning. And going back to school and taking that with, and then going on holiday, and the limited resources being depleted again, and that cycle of going through periods of high risk for vulnerable families means that holidays can effectively be a risk to child poverty. So going forward, we've been supported by Public Health England to look at our outcomes more carefully and see how we can tailor some of our activities and the programs that we're working around more closely. And that's had some great people providing good input and it's a learning process. I think it's a learning process for all of us. But, you know, we're needing that needs assessment as much as we're needing to evidence the outcomes. We have learned that by providing good quality food and activities, we are able to meet a range of outcomes we never thought we would be able to from setting out. So briefly, you know, there's a bit of an overview of some of the outcomes that we have evidence around. If you're interested, please look at our website for more details. The Birmingham City University concluded that you know, while the work that we're doing is effective, it is also relationally addressing the child poverty agenda. Going forward, we have 10 programs in the West Midlands funded by Children in Need for the next 2 years. We have 12 programs across Greater Manchester, which is being funded by the Social Housing Partnership. And in Nottingham, there will be 10 children's centres working to deliver holiday kitchen activities going forward. As mentioned, we are looking at that integrated service offer, and that means not only aligning the programme to public health, Department of Education, the financial inclusion targets for families, but linking into the service offers that local authorities are providing to targeted client groups. And so we didn't set out to have this kind of narrowing vision, but with limited resources and some families going into more and more crisis, and those gaps not being filled at the moment, there's been a call that can we take predominantly children who've gone through CAF processes and will, there aren't safety nets or other support at the moment available for them, given what's happening to a whole lot of other services. So we didn't set out to be specialist service providers, but working in the environments we have, there is support structures in place to be doing that. And so we are offering a core support package to centres, which notably provides them with resources around activities and food guidelines, and the quality assurance framework that they are needing to meet, and for them to then go out and deliver. If you would like any more information about any of our work, please contact me or look at the website, and would love to speak to more people and also to find out more about the things that you're doing that could help us improve.